Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Sir Yeetus, and welcome to episode 132 of Yeetus's Thoughts. I just seen a comment right here. Are you starting? Are you that impatient for me to drop the gems on you today? Don't worry, I got you, Alex. Don't worry, okay? I'm the one that's gonna feed you the knowledge that you need, okay? It's all about patience, bro. I got you. Today's topic will be about the story of the scorpion and the frog. And I saw this story a few days ago, and I say, I can actually apply the story to what pretty much a lot of men go through in society today when it comes to modern women. Oh, it's going to be great, gentlemen. This is going to be a good one. And on top of the story, me and Gray, yes, Gray is here today. Yes, you're welcome, right? Right? I grace you guys with Gray's presence, right? The almighty librarian, right? But in all seriousness, though, in all seriousness, this is going to be a good topic today because I believe that we're going to go into depth of what is truly the female nature, and hopefully, I'll get maximum participation from you guys today because I do want to see a lot more different opinions on this. But once I read the story to you guys, just let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. All right. So let me add in Gray. And before I do, actually, no, I don't really have nothing right now. So let me just add Gray right now. Gray, what's going on?
Good evening, Warband. Ah, actually, just fiddling around with the Unreal Engine a little bit. Gonna see about working up a background so it's not just the PNG on the black one.
Oh yeah, you said you're gonna be doing the high grade animation and all that crazy stuff. Is this for your intro or what are you going to be using it for?
A couple different things. Right now, I'm just trying to get Unreal Engine 5 to cooperate. I loaded in too much crap last time. It took forever to open anything, so I'm dipping my toes into it. But if it doesn't work, I'll just use Unreal Engine 4 and work from there.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, hopefully you're able to get that straightened out because I guarantee you, once you get everything put together, I believe that your quality videos will be the best out of the Warband.
Well, I'll work on it, assuming I can put out more videos. I'm still only on 3.
It's fine. No, people still like it. People still like your videos, right? Only 4 days, 15 subs.
Yeah, 118 right now. So
See, look at that. Look, growing like crazy. But we're going to begin the topic, okay? And I want everybody right now that's in the chat to listen. I'm going to tell you the story about the scorpion and the frog. And then I'm going to ask Gray what he thinks of it. And then I'm going to ask you guys. All right, let me begin. The story of the scorpion and the frog. A scorpion wants to cross a river, but cannot swim. So it asks a frog to carry it across. The frog hesitates, afraid the scorpion might sting it, but the scorpion promises not to, pointing out that it will drown if it kills the frog in the middle of the river. The frog considers this argument sensible and agrees to transport the scorpion. Midway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog anyway, dooming them both. The dying frog asks the scorpion why. Why did it stung, despite knowing the consequences? To which the scorpion replies, I am sorry, but I couldn't resist the urge. It is in my nature. The end. What do you think about that, Gray?
I honestly, the more I think about it, is like, okay, so it's very much a parable about self control and trusting others. Because let's put it this way, It's not in a frog's nature to carry insects across the water.
True.
That's the thing. So the scorpion is at the end still dodging personal accountability because it's not like the scorpion stung the frog immediately. Like, it could have stung the frog at any point if it was because it was in its nature. Instead, like, it takes the frog out, and all the frog had to do partway across would be dive. Most frogs don't swim on the surface of the water anyway, let alone fairy scorpions. So the frog was able to defy his nature and at great personal risk, whereas the scorpion, who had nothing to gain by stinging, could not resist.
So, how do you compare these two relationships? Because I can compare this easily.
Well, it's quite simple. The man must do what is against his own self interest to provide something, like to provide a service, a thankless service that ultimately does not benefit him in many ways. Admittedly, it's not like the scorpion and the frog could breed, but in this case, the frog sees no benefit. The man likewise sees very little benefit in the relationship of marriage. And meanwhile, the scorpion, who's clearly the allegory for the woman here, just does damage to both out of feelings, even though it is ultimately destructive for both. Yeah, sure, the frog's probably going to die from poison before the scorpion dies of drowning. But in the end, both will die.
And in the end, who does the scorpion pretty much blame?
I think at this point, it's like, I think at this point, the scorpion's basically blaming God. It's like, don't hate me, I was born this way.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I would say indirectly, it is still blaming the frog for his naiveness.
That is true. It's like Lucy and Charlie Brown in the football.
It's like another story of a man saving a snake from a net or something like that. I forgot what the story was called, but the man saved the snake from some type of danger and thought that the snake was cool, but the snake still bit the man anyway, right? And the man's like, "Why?" And the snake was like, "This is what I do. You should have known. I'm a snake." Like, you should have known that I was good. Come on, like, I'm a fucking snake. What do you want me to say?
I think there's actually a Bible story. Have you heard the phrase "no good deed goes unpunished"?
Yes.
My understanding is that actually comes from a story of the Bible where they were transporting the Ark of the Covenant, and there's a rule: don't touch the Ark of the Covenant ever.
I agree.
But here's the thing. So it's being transported and the terrain's kind of rough, and one of the bearers of the Ark stumbles and the Ark of the Covenant starts to slip. So this one guy reaches out and touches the Ark of the Covenant to stabilize it, dead instantly.
I bet the people were shocked too. Like, oh, what? How did he die? Oh.
Well, no, they knew he touched the Ark of the Covenant.
I know, but it's like, oh, he just did it anyway. I'm sure a few of them still act stupid, act confused. What happened? Even though it was strictly forbidden to touch it, he did it anyway. He died. What could have went wrong? That's pretty much the mindset with a lot of women, right? Because it's not just self-destructive behavior of themselves, but the people around them. It's so crazy how this story resonates so much with modern relationships. I know this type of situations has been around since the dawn of time, but it is like minuscule compared to what's been happening in the last 70 years. Like, wow. Like the fact that, out of the kindness of men's hearts, right? AKA simps, right? And unfortunately, I ain't gonna go too hard on them, right? Because sometimes it takes them to get burned for them to learn to not touch the stove again, right? To not touch the fire. I have issues with simps that gets burned but continually put their hands into the fire over and over and over again. That's my main issue. But at the end of the day, these guys, you're like, oh, you say you need help. Oh, you said that you struggling with this and that. Oh, you a single mother. Oh, you homeless. You got financial debt. Oh my God, let me come help you. Come on, just hop on my back. I'll fly you away with my Captain Saberho cape. Let's go. Come on. I'll save you. And then as soon as he pays off the loans or make sure that she has a luxurious house. It doesn't have to be a luxurious house, a decent house with a couple of cars and everything's situated, everything's Gucci. And then bam, gets backstabbed out of nowhere. And the sip was like, why? E2 Brute. Why? And the woman will literally look him dead in the eye, stone cold, and said, it will say, well, it's your fault. You should have known. like literally look in your eye and say that it is your fault as a man for falling for her bullshit in the first place.
And that's like, now to a certain extent, we can look at the larger elements of society and put some of the blame on them because, like, first of all, you have a society that takes the fatherly influence, if not outright the father, out of the home. You also have a senior generation, who's supposed to be passing their wisdom on to the youth, who is completely delusional or has a terrible case of Stockholm syndrome. And then you look at the media in general, where like the only time men are good in media nowadays is when they're living for the benefit of a woman. Any independent man in media is either a bum or evil.
I agree, and Dr. Dre, you don't hate the boomer. It's not the boomers. It's Gen X, older millennials, Gen X / the oldest millennials, so around 70s, 80s.
Yeah, you know what? Look, here's the thing. I do put some on the boomers as well, but in the more general sense, any older person who thinks that their personal subjective experience can be one-to-one translated to the experience of the modern youth, they are fools and need to be humbled.
I see what you're saying, but besides the people on Capitol Hill or people that's in parliament or people in political power, I see boomers weaning out of society per se when it comes to their influence. So,
well, no, but then there's the other thing. Like, I actually caught a video on this morning, so fucking bad call by chat to bring this topic up.
Wait, what? Oh, okay, never mind. Okay.
So, because the thing is, with the boomers, like, they voted for all the fucking policies that are now being paid off because the boomers specifically were the largest voting demographic for their age. When the boomers were going into college, they got free college. When the boomers were starting their business, they got a bunch of business tax. When the boomers are retiring, they got a bunch of retirement benefits.
I see what you're saying with this particular situation, but like, isn't that the same
And
for every generation eventually?
no, because the boomers had the population that outpaced every other age group.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree.
So, like, by population in a society where the majority vote rules, the majority age group is the one that politicians are going to aim to appease. That's number one. Number two, like all those zoning laws, like that was boomers. In order to preserve the value of their homes and make them investments rather than commodities, they voted in all these zoning laws that make it so, like, they invented the suburbs. Like that was an
Yeah,
invention by the boomer generation to preserve the value of houses. And if you wonder why there's no like moderate housing or maybe small houses being built anymore that you can get as a fixer upper, yeah, you can point and look at the boomers and the legal decisions that they voted in. So there's that. And then on top of that, you look at the wealth being passed down. We got to wait for the boomers to die. And by the time the boomers die, their children, the Gen Xers, they're going to be retirement age themselves. So there's no passing on of wealth to help the next generation. Boomers are tight fisted. They will blow every single cent they have on vacations and medical expenses while living in a multi-million-dollar McMansion that they got with a high school diploma. Meanwhile, their kids are saddled with triple digits worth of college debt, living out of a renovated shipping container. And the boomers have no empathy for them, saying like, well, it was easy for me to get a job. Why didn't you just pay off your college with a summer job?
back in my day, my house only cost $7,000.
Not even that much of an exaggeration. Like back then, a house was cheaper than a car.
Yep. Oh,
So
hold up. There's a couple of comments that. Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. Celibate chick. I don't see how it relates to women or relationships. That story is about people being naive morons. Whoa, I say that this story can imply to men be naive to the model women, or be naive to women in general, in my opinion. The frog is the man, the scorpion is the woman. Because especially in 2022, women do not give a fuck on who they throw under the bus, as long as they get what they want and as long as they feel good. So that could be applied. And there was another one. Do. Cool chickens. He says, not true. The greatest generation event in the suburbs. What did I say about that, Gray?
I have to double check the video that I got this reference from. So can't say for sure. If someone's got information to verify that it was the greatest generation who voted in the suburbs and not the majority voting bloc of the boomers, by all means.
I say boomers. Because our greatest economic boom was around the late 1950s, early 60s. Around there? I'll say around there, yeah. That's when the economy was on fire, and the boomers were at least 18 years old, or older, already willy-nilly going into these nice ass houses, getting these great cars for the cheapest price.
They were homeowners by their early 20s.
Yes. And a lot of them, they were plumbers, they were mailmen, they were delivering milk and were able to support their family.
And by and large, they're in charge now. So that's why, like, I'm not entirely like, I don't entirely agree with successful that, oh, they were just suckered. No, the boomers are very consciously making terrible decisions that are fucking over the later generations. And they are remaining willfully ignorant of how the younger generations are being affected by it. They're turning a blind eye. Like one of the stories I was reading in the comments, like this one dad was like, you just need to manage your money better. And then his son brought his paycheck and brought his bills to his dad and was like, okay, help me budget. The dad shut right the fuck up after that.
Okay, Cesspool. I see what you're saying, that the greatest generation invented the suburbs, but I say the boomers benefited from it the most. That I can say with a guarantee. The boomers thrived in the suburbs that the greatest generation established. Because when the boomers
the
were
greatest
adults,
generation built the wealth, the boomers spent the wealth, and they didn't pass it on to their kids.
Because the Industrial Revolution 2.0 was on fucking fire in the 1960s. It was on fire. The economy was amazing back then. Of course, we had the Korean War, but that's a different story. In the end, the economy was great. Everything was Gucci. Everything was cheap. Everything was affordable. Everybody was able to live comfortable. Everybody that you know how it was back then.
And it would be anything, and I'd have more sympathy for them if they could just admit that they had it fucking amazing and that things are fucking terrible now. No, but they look at the fucking generation today and they're like, kids today have it so fucking easy. It's like, really? You think that the majority of 20-year-olds aren't homeowners because they're just lazy and don't work hard enough? Is that it?
Yep, that's their excuse, right? Because their experiences, they didn't really have the negative experience in their early adulthood of an economic recession, depression, nothing. They were at one of the highest peaks of U.S. economy's history around that time.
Yeah, and Zeroth, no, it's not going to be in 30 more years Gen Z will be the next group to be blamed. The baby boomers are pretty consistently the fucking bad guys in this. No one blamed the greatest generation for shit.
Nah, they at least the male soldiers, they're good. I ain't gonna hold the soldiers. I will always have respect for soldiers, always, but the rest of the people around that time of the greatest generation, because
and that's the thing. Like D-Man 50, same thing. 10% inflation this year so far, and yet to get a raise at work. I straight up had to change jobs because fucking 2.5 years, a $1 raise, that's barely 10%. It's like, what the hell? And this was a Gen Xer I was working for, not even a boomer. But this idea that you can, you accept paying double the cost in gas and materials, but you keep paying your laborers the exact same amount with a very moderate raise, that shit's going to die real fast from supply and demand because people cannot afford to work for dirt cheap anymore.
Yep. That is beyond annoying when people are like, oh, you just need to work harder. Oh, you just need a better paying job. I'm like, you act like we ain't doing that shit over and over again?
Okay, Zeroth, boomers are not fucking duped. Boomers have every resource right now to realize the shit their kids are going through. Their kids are telling it to them themselves, and the parents, grandparents aren't listening. This is not being duped. They're not being fooled. They're being willfully ignorant and blowing their wealth on stupid shit.
Bob Sebring. It's not the baby boomers that's fucking up everything. It's the government. Who voted in the people and the policies that pretty much set up everything that's happening today? Because newsflash, there's a lot of boomers still on Capitol Hill taking control. including Sleepy Joe. I don't think Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe's a boomer, right? Yeah, I think he's a boomer.
Yeah, he'd be an early boomer.
Yeah. So yeah, the boomers are a lot at fault, right? I'm not
They're
saying
the top politicians. They're the CEOs. They're still the majority voting demographic by age.
I'm not saying there's lazy people. Of course, there's lazy fucking people, all right? But there's countless other people right now trying to swim afloat, right? We survived two big economic issues, right? The 2008 recession, the 2020 situation, and now we're going to be going through another recession and possibly a stock market crash. But of course, the boomers, they're enjoying their little retirement, all the money that they were able to save because they didn't have to pay for shit in the first place. Oh, you should have saved more. You should have worked more hours. You should have.
You should have not listened to what your parents told you, and instead of going to post-secondary, you should have just invested in the same stocks I did. Thanks. Where the fuck were you 20 years ago?
Oh, hey, Red Pill Overdose Podcast. What is going on, man? Hopefully you're doing good. I think you had a show a few days ago. If not, let me know. Let me know if you're gonna have an upcoming show, man. In fact, let me know if you can join this podcast in the future. I'd love to have you join. But all right, back to talking shit to boomers, because honestly, boomers do piss me.
So yeah, slight clarification. Joe Biden was born 1942, 4 years before the official baby boomers. So he is very late, I guess, silent generation. So yeah, he's 1942, not 1946.
And that's the biggest issue. Why are people that fucking old and senile and so out of touch with what's happening in the world besides their own little bubble? How can they still properly run or take care of business on Capitol Hill? If they
to be fair, I think that the reason Biden's in charge is because he can't do shit on his own.
Well, I know there's people in charge, but that's a different story. We ain't gonna go into. We ain't gonna dive into that one. But these boomers or these older generations that did not have to deal with these crazy economic times that not only that my parents' generation had to deal with, but my generation has to deal with for the third or fourth time in my own lifetime. In my lifetime. And they're finally in certain states going to be doing the $15 an hour minimum wage. I somewhat don't agree, especially fast food, but
no, like honestly, hot take right here. I straight up say the minimum wage should be outright abolished.
So, oh man, see, I should have brought TFM here because now we're about to get into finance. Okay. Why do you say that minimum wage should be abolished?
Because right now it is putting a bottom-up pressure on the system, and it also makes it so that employers can be like, hey, I'm offering minimum wage. It's the government stated fair wage, so it must be good enough. And someone else go like, hey, I'm offering above minimum wage, so I'm offering slightly better than them. Meanwhile, they're still offering prices that no one in their right mind would pick. And it's also because it's mandated across a wide area. Like, the minimum cost of living in the city is not the minimum cost of living in a rural area. Likewise, income expectations are different.
See, that's my next question, though. Like what Name said, if they got rid of minimum wage, what's going to stop them from paying even less?
Okay, the answer is because no one will take the job.
Well, see, when it comes to the minimum wage stuff, and it's mainly fast food joints, wouldn't that be suited? So, okay, so all right, we're about to go down the rabbit hole. Well, fuck me. So when it comes to the minimum wage thing, Wouldn't that be more suitable for people who are or teenagers that are starting out their jobs in the sense of they have no experience, no trade, no skills, nothing.
You still have to pay them to be in the area. They can't work remote.
Well, yeah, but yeah, well, what I'm saying is,
Do you expect them to have a car? Do you expect them to walk to your store? That really limits the amount of people you can hire.
hey, teenagers is teenagers, right? If they want to go out there and actually have a job for the first time, their parents are either going to drop them off or they're going to eventually work to get a car or etc. Right?
You've got two nowadays. You have two parents, both of them working, and now they have to find time to drop their kid off at work. That's going to limit the amount of hours that they're available.
Okay, then they can easily walk to work. Like, there's nothing's going to stop them from walking to work. So to the fast food
Unless they're in the middle of the suburbs and the nearest restaurant is an hour away on foot.
See, that's the biggest thing, though, right? When it comes to adults, right? And this is the argument for adults. See, for majority adults, not all adults, right? Because I know there's adults out there that are unable to continue their education, unable to even get a skill or trade, and unfortunately, they will have to stick with low-level jobs. So, what about the able-bodied uh, adults that are able to uh, go and like, hey, let me go work a blue collar job or possibly a job that is not really the cleanest or not really the most comfortable, but it will pay pretty decent. But they choose not to because, you know, they don't feel that it's their thing, right? Like, oh man, being a welder, being a plumber, driving a forklift. What are you talking about, bro? Nah, man, I'm trying to do that corporate thing. Like, bro, like you don't have a fucking degree. You got no experience whatsoever. What's so bad about blue collar? See, that's where the arguments back and forth when it comes to minimum wage. You
Okay,
don't.
but here's the thing. You really think that a
Don't wanna-
forklift operator's making minimum wage? You think that a forklift operator is just gonna like, oh hey, I'm gonna get out of high school. Oh yeah, come on, we'll train you how to drive a forklift, and you can be the new guy on the ground. No, like, you got to get freaking forklift certified first.
But it's an example, right? Of course, you gotta get certified, right? But what I'm saying is, everybody got to start somewhere. In certain jobs, especially blue collar, of course, you got to go get trained to do certain things. But overall, you'll get paid in the end. In fact, the various companies are willing to pay on their on your behalf to get trained.
That is highly variable and not guaranteed in the slightest.
Well, I'm just saying for the adults that don't want to work minimum wage anymore, at the same time, they don't want to put in the effort to get out of that minimum wage issue.
Okay. Put in the effort to get out of minimum wage. When you can barely make ends meet working two jobs at minimum wage just to cover all your basic expenses, how exactly are you supposed to get the skills to get out of minimum wage?
All I'm saying is you hook it up, you talk to you apply for whatever company that does like construction or whatever, garbage man, because garbage man they get paid good, sewage people, whatever it is, right? Just any job that you can take, because once again, it doesn't have to be a job that you have to love or a job that you're the most comfortable, but a job that you're able to be in a more secure economic standing. I'd say that, hey,
More secure economic standing. How are you supposed to get to a construction job without a vehicle?
See, that's the thing. There's plenty of cheap vehicles out there. Plenty of cheap vehicles. You don't have to have the most expensive one out there.
I'm not saying you have to have the expensive one. How I'm talking a vehicle, period. How much of a nest egg do you think that people who are working two minimum wage jobs and barely able to make rent and basic bills plus food every week, how much do you think they're going to have saved up? You think they're going to have 5 figures squirreled away?
No, I'm not saying that they are, but what I'm saying is if they want to get out of the situation, they should take the calculated risk.
Okay, get the train bus. Dr. Dre, I don't know where the fuck you live, but there's not a lot of fucking trains or buses to remote job sites out in the middle of ass fuck nowhere. And down in the city where there is a common train bus, you're competing with the immigrants who will work twice as hard for half your wage.
Okay. Chat. Everybody in the chat right now. Let me know. Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you ever walked, took a bike to work. If it's a long way. Let me know if you walk or you took a bike.
Dude, I used to walk an hour to a factory job.
No, but that's what I'm saying, right? If the company, blue collar company, if they really want you for the job, they will definitely make sure that you get your certificate on their behalf.
If they really want you for the job and can't find anyone who's willing to do what you're willing to do for less and more convenience.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't leave your two minimum wage jobs willy-nilly. I'm just saying if you have a guarantee, like, hey, yeah, I would definitely hire you. Just you have to go through this 6-8 week training, get your cert, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay, 6 to 8 week training. Does that require you to not be working at your job?
See, that's the biggest question. I do not know.
Who has 6 to 8 weeks of I can afford to not work anymore saved up?
See, here's the thing. It's called it's calculated risk to me because I believe it's a lot easier to get a minimum wage job than to pass on a blue collar job. Pass over a blue collar job.
I was like, I'm not disrespecting the blue collar job. But I'm also looking at this from the perspective of someone who, like, maybe fresh out of high school, maybe still living with their parents, assuming their parents live in a place that is relatively feasible. And they have to get a vehicle, which they might not have at this point, because that's no guarantee of being 18. And they'd have to get to a construction job, which, good luck, like, they might not be anywhere around them.
I completely forgot. Thank you for reminding me, Yogi. Plenty of blue collar jobs, you do get paid as you trade. You do get paid. I completely forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. Not saying it's a guarantee that you get the job because there's a chance that you won't be able to finish the school, but I'd much rather take that risk than to stick with the 2 minimum wage jobs.
Yeah. No, I'll admit, it's definitely better. It's a better risk. It's a better option.
But
the wage also has to be fucking good.
Oh, believe me, blue collar jobs, at least the starting pay,
they are not guaranteed good.
No, starting.
If you're down in the middle of the city and you get a union job, absolutely, they pay good. But you don't have a guarantee of that everywhere.
But the
trade apprenticeship, Gamma Mercury's, that's not what everyone gets.
But what I'm saying is the starting pay is definitely more than minimum wage when it comes to blue collar jobs. I'm not saying it's a lot more, but it's definitely more.
Yeah. Of course, you can only work one of them because good luck working 2 blue collar. Okay, it might be that, but is it 1.5 times as much or 2 times as much? Enough that you'd actually be making more money than you would working 2 minimum wage jobs?
6 years ago, his starting pay was $11.50.
And minimum wage was what?
7. Well, I don't know what it is now. What is minimum wage now? Because in the States it's $7.25, $7.25. Unless it went up. I don't know if it went up.
Hey, Dr. fucking Dre, I'd be fucking happy if I could pay off all my student loans in one summer job. Thank you very fucking much.
Honestly,
I can work like a fucking dog all goddamn summer and not even pay off 1/10 of that shit. So fuck you.
That actually sounds pretty nice to be able to get your student loans paid in one summer. That would be pretty legit. I've never heard that happening, but I'm sure
That's what the boomers fucking got. But apparently, I just want a boomer lifestyle without having to work for it. Yeah, fuck 10 hours in the fucking sun at 100 fucking degrees. Fuck you, I don't work.
Oh shit, Gray's going in. Let's go. Oh, but at the end of the day, gentlemen, at the end of the day, hold up. Do. Celibate, who told you to get to student debt, you dumb? LOL. You need to direct that energy to your sisterhood because they hold the majority of student loan debt. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no, I follow the advice of my fucking parents like a dumbass. Yeah, you know,
Oh, no,
that
I was
fountain
telling
of
her
wisdom.
that majority of women hold student loan debt, so you need to direct that energy towards them. All right.
Because you know what? At least I'm paying my shit off. They're not.
Yeah. They're not. They're busy looking for sugar daddies and shit, or just waiting for a stupid simp that made it right above minimum, not above minimum wage, above middle class or upper class, waiting for them to come and be a Captain Saberhole, right? Just because she's shaking her ass on the street corner. Yeah, gotta direct that energy towards your sisterhood, celibate, because we definitely have a dent in our national debt because of women in college. Thank you. Do. Okay. Become a minimal. Yeah, I'm definitely minimalist. Oh yeah. I don't need much. I'm doing phenomenal right now, and I ain't trying to get the Gucci bag, the Gucci shorts, the Gucci whatever it is, Louis Vuitton. I ain't trying to get the Bentley and all that stuff. Maybe in the future when I retire, maybe I'll get myself a nice car too.
I'm
right
willing
now,
to bet I'm living a more minimalist lifestyle than most of chat right now.
I am minimalist. My bank account looking large. Why?
Yeah. Look, let me put it this way, chat. If you've drank anything more complex than water and tea in the past month, fuck you. I'm more minimalist than you
are. Oh shit, it's crazy. But yeah, that fast food guy, he's been trolling me for a while. Yeah, what triggered me, he said that I had avocado on toast. What the fuck? Bitch, I ain't no valley girl. But back to the topic at hand, though, when it comes to, because we went way off when it comes to the economy thing. We went way off. When it comes to the scorpion and the frog situation, though, is definitely a man can learn from at least once in his life, unless he was wise enough to learn from somebody else. Okay. In my opinion, women just can't help it if they don't really have a male masculine figure to help them, give them guidance. They are self-destructive to themselves and everybody else around them, and they will not care. They will literally look you dead in the eye and say, "Hey, you should have known what I was, or you should have known I was crazy, or some stupid shit like that."
That's the thing. Like the frog in the story, like knows the threat of the scorpion.
Yep.
So it's not that he doesn't have ignorance on his side. The frog wants to believe that the scorpion is reasonable and rational and will act in mutual benefit. Now, why the frog didn't see this as being like, maybe the scorpion's going to sting me the instant we're on safe ground on the opposite side because I'm no longer useful. Like, once you accept the scorpion on your back, you're basically dead. It's just a question of when.
He fell for the good old bait and switch. He fell for it. Oh oh He thought that the scorpion was not the rest of them. Oh shit. It's like when you're when your homeboy comes to you, say, "Hey yo, man, hey yo, I got a girl, bro. I got a girl, man. Yo, I think she's the one, man. I think she's the one. She got my heart, man. She got my heart." And then he brings in Mia Khalifa.
By the way,
Like, what the fuck?
apparently a good chunk of chat here is communicating with fucking twigs and smoke signals. So I guess respect the innovation to get on the Wi-Fi with that.
regardless, a lot of you gentlemen, I definitely hold you accountable. Okay, hey, you guys need to hear this. You need to hear this. Very good. All right, you are a dumbass, a straight fucking dumbass. If you watch my channel, if you watch the Warband channel, if you watch any channel that has this type of content, and you still fell for the I'm not like these other girls, and you get dragged left and right across the goddamn divorce and family courts, I got no sympathy for you. I will literally sit there with a drink in my cup, pointing and laughing at you because you were warned countless times. Am I wrong, Gray?
No, in this day and age, like that's the thing. The only way that can come about in this day and age is willful ignorance. The message is constantly getting out. Like, I can't exactly say how saturated it is, but when you got freaking 8-year-olds spouting off that they don't want to get married because half their shit will be taken, you know the message is penetrated pretty fucking far.
Exactly. And I won't say young men. A lot of men in general, they just so down bad. They just want to stick their little buddy into anything that has a puniti. You just need it. You need it, and you just black out or something. Yeah, you everything that you were told is thrown out the window, and you just leading with your little head, and then bam, you got some 300 fucking pound land whale pregnant that probably has super AIDS.
And honestly, like, I swear it's vasopressin. The main reason for this logic and why it gets pressed so harshly is because it needs to remain deeply embedded in a man's mind for when a vasopressin bond kicks in. As if a man is going to associate with women, he's eventually going to get the vasopressin bond, or catching feelings, as it's more commonly known.
I agree.
And if he doesn't, and that will make him think, oh no, she's different. She's the exception. She would never do this to me. She loves me. It is rationalizing the vasopressin bond.
Why you gotta be between our love, bro? Hey, why you so fucking jealous, man? You just jealous of us. That's why you don't get no bitches. Like, okay, listen, I ain't picking up a girl from a fucking 1-star strip club talking about, oh, I'm gonna marry her 3 days later. Like, but okay, man, you do you. I know you're trying to have that hopeful factor, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, if I could just respond to a thing in chat here real quick. So Crummy VCR
right here
response, like I don't think it's a coincidence that a bunch of these guys are from the older generations to begin with. And it's like, look, I'm not asking for all the shit to be solved. And I'll admit, yes, there's a bunch of shit that I took some L's on and need to dig my way out of. And I can't be looking for someone else to fix that for me. But it'd be nice to at least get some acknowledgement and maybe some actual practical advice, rather than the usual vague, oh, just work harder, bro, bullshit that I'm accustomed to from older generations. It's fucking useless information.
Because at this point, if you're not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or you didn't win the lottery sometime in your life, your hard work will get you small steps.
Look, no one no matter how hard they work, can match the average boomer in the same period of time. It is impossible. To believe that the generation of today is just lazy, that is fucking egocentric bullshit that boomers tell themselves and some Gen Xers tell themselves so that they don't have to admit that their success in life was not entirely due to their own work ethic, but due to the economic environment they have. And that they couldn't fucking hack it if they had to do it all again as a millennial or Gen Z.
I agree. I got a lot of people that I know that are still living with their parents, still around my age, and that's okay, because there's no way you can afford a 1-bedroom house at this point off of one income unless you're making around 6 figures.
Hey, one of the honestly new work is this guy. He's like mid-20s. Don't think he's been to post-secondary. He's got a moderately priced car that he got a good deal on, and apparently he's got the opportunity to get a house for $100,000.
Really?
Yeah, he realizes how fucking amazing that is, and I got nothing but fucking props for the guy because he's got his head on straight.
And remember, gentlemen, around the boomers' time, the average cost of a house was around $7,000-$8,000. Think on that.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's up, Gray?
No, just one more thing by Sexpo. Like, so it's only a coincidence that they're shipping all of our jobs to China and leaving the borders open? No, I'm not saying that that's a coincidence. But who's driving that? Who owns all these companies that are paying all these lobbyists to get these voters in? It's not the people who are competing with the immigrants for these jobs. It's not the people who are struggling to find factory work who are competing with these overseas jobs. No, it's the boomer leaders of these corporations that are paying these lobbyists for it because they want to keep their fucking wages low.
Dr. Dre, just like what Gray was just saying just now. Yes, 7-8K was a lot back then, but 70 years later, 80 years later, the inflation is severely outpacing the value of the dollar or how much average person gets paid. That's the issue. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of complex math to find out the exact scaling. I need to pull up the precise video, but that's the thing. So many boomers, they have no idea how good they had it relevant to the current generation.
Yeah, speaking of that, here before we continue, I'm definitely going to be typing this up right quick. If you want to support your boys here, Yeetus and the Warband, that's including Gray, go ahead and click on the 2 links on top of the chat. All right, the best way you can donate is Cash App or PayPal. Those links I pinned up there, or you can super chat, super thanks, any type of donations. I greatly appreciate. Okay, but I am glad at the end of the day that you're hearing our epic rant right now about fucking boomers and economy. Okay, because that's where the real issue is at right now. Let me type it up right quick. Value of the dollar.
But let me just, here's one of the key examples is why I despise the minimum wage. Just personal experience. Because I worked in fast food as a teenager. I've been working ever since high school. And every time I'd get my annual raise, and it'd be a pittance, but it would be a raise. Like, yeah, nice. And then the minimum wage goes up, and I get a second raise. and now I'm making the same as the next person to walk in the door. And the cycle repeats every year.
Yeah, right now, the change from 1960 and today is the price increase of the value of the dollar is 887.49% price increase of the dollar.
So let's rough that out to 9 times. Wages have not gone up 9 times in that time period.
Hold up. Let's see this one. So, for example, $2,545 in 1960 is equivalent into the purchasing power of $25,131 today. Wow.
Yeah, so all you who are like, well, I was making $3 an hour back then, and I was fucking grateful. It's like, yeah, well, you'd be pissed off if you were making $1.50 an hour back then, because that's what $15 an hour minimum wage is. Half of what you made for doing less work.
A good amount of people don't even make 25 grand a year. That's fucked. that is bad. That is very bad.
Oh yeah.
Sorry guys, we need to go into the economy. I love the economy shit. But overall, do you have anything else to say about the story, or do you want to move on to a different topic?
Digging back into the story, I've covered a fair bit because, again, the main thing is that the frog chose to believe in a better nature in the scorpion. And I think that that's the big illusion that a bunch of guys don't want to admit, or even a bunch of the hopeful people, if we're to actually include women in this. The idea that, well, I wouldn't do it. Therefore, when they say they won't do it, I can believe them.
Right.
It's like, look, there are people out there who give less of a fuck about your and their personal safety than you do. And they will sabotage you and kill you just to do it, just because it feels good.
Yep. Because it's all about how they feel.
You can't be expecting your best expectations out of everyone. Like, you're not going to leave a former coke addict with a brick of coke and be like, now you leave that right there. I need to report it to the proper authorities so that it can get safely destroyed. Yeah, no, as soon as you turn your back to call the police, there's going to be a knife in it.
Yeah, pretty much. She's going to make sure that you suffer. Because why not, right? Because sometimes women, they do it out of amusement. I'm sure plenty of men here can understand what I'm saying. They don't have to be mad at you. They can just do it just to do it.
Honestly, I think part of it's the lack of mindset. I think that if guys were actually to spend some time in a biological woman's body, they'd probably find that emotions are a crazy addicting drug to them.
I agree.
Like, I think that as guys, we project far too much of our own biology onto women. I mean, like, for all the claiming that women are the more empathetic gesture, I've seen more guys try to get in the heads of and understand other people than I've seen from women. Subjective, but it's just what I've seen.
Well, shit, why do you think women freak the fuck out when you just ignore them?
Right.
Their existence.
That's the thing. I keep going back to the corpus callosum, the dividing portion of the brain between your left and right hemispheres. Right side of your brain, that's your emotional, creative, happy-go-lucky side. Left side, that's the rational, logical side. Both have it, but in men, and particularly men with higher levels of testosterone, because it is actually linked to hormone levels, the corpus callosum is thicker. So that means that men can compartmentalize their emotions and their logic more easily. In women or lower testosterone men, it flows more freely back and forth. So therefore, I would believe that to a woman, they experience emotional hits much further throughout the brain than a man does. And the same probably applies to like many soy boys, though I still think it would be to a lesser extent than women. Like, unless they were on hormone blockers, but that's a whole other like conversation right there. But simply like a woman experiences emotions on a far greater level than a man does. Their sensitivity to it and where it goes in the brain is far greater. And I think that it would be the equivalent of a drug hit. And so it's like to ask a woman to calm down and be logical is like telling a crackhead to sober up.
That is true. You speaking no lies there, but I got to adjust this again. Celibate. She was talking to Free Ross. What do you consider a high value man? Well, to keep it simple, my answer on Free Ross's behalf, it's who a lot of women want to fuck and a lot of men admire and strive to be. That's pretty much the summary. Who a lot of women want to, and I know there's a lot of other variables. I know. I'm just saying, keep it in the summary. A lot of women want to fuck, and who a lot of men admire and strive to be. Right? For example, a good one is Dwayne the Rock Johnson. That's one example. He doesn't have to be a celebrity, but you can clearly say that Dwayne the Rock Johnson is a very high value man.
Well, on the objective sense, on a societal scale, I can see that. I guess that's the thing. A high value man would mean a different thing to a man and a woman. But that's because when you look at value, you are looking at what someone wants from it.
Give me 1 second, Gray. That's like the top 1% of men. Yeah, that's my point.
But that's the thing. So
I
high value
know
man.
the variables, cool chickens, right? I like I already mentioned before. But to keep it in the most simplest terms, who do you think the women are striving for? What, the bottom 10%? No.
Well, hey, you got to be fair. There's plenty of fucking broke ass homeless dudes who just happen to have good fucking genetics and a ruthlessness about them, and women will still want them.
Like I said, there's plenty of variables that I did not mention, but I just kept it simple to the most simplest I could possibly put it. All women, the man that a lot of women wants to fuck, and a lot of men admire and strive to be. Right? It doesn't have to be both. It could be one or the other, or it can be something else. Who knows?
That's the thing. That's the thing. Women, I'd say that right there, women have two different variables that they use for a high value man, and men only use one of those variables. Because the kind of man that women want to have sex with, typically it's because they project good genetics, healthy children, that kind of stuff. Women biologically attract to that. But both men and women, including the men who are like, "Ooh, I want to be that guy," that's usually a man who has stable resource acquisition, and provides a high level of security.
Yeah, I agree. And once again, because I'm sure the chat they're trying to make exceptions right now. I don't know why. Like I already told you guys, it's either women who wants to fuck or men that admire, respect, and strive to be that man. Okay, it doesn't have to be both. It could be one or the other, right? I'm saying in the most simplest terms.
Yeah.
I know there's 300 different variables.
I think we could break
Okay.
it down to, like, quite simply, women want men for genetics and resources. Men only want men for resources.
Like, whoa, like a lot of people in the chat are getting defensive. I'm like, relax. Like, you see them? I've seen plenty of fucking bum ass chads pulling bitches. Like, whoa. Relax.
That's the thing. Like,
Relax.
that's the thing. So, like, high value man to a woman can be like two different variables, one outpacing the other. Kind of like the man's hot crazy matrix, if you think about it. Like the man, like if you're like to a woman, if you got to be a certain level of crazy, you got to be a certain level of hot to be tolerated. Men,
Right.
if you're gonna be a certain level of broke, you got to be a certain level of hot to be desired.
Agreed. Agreed. It just it's crazy, you know. Like I explained it 50 times. Okay. Like I get it. I get it. There's but in the end, somebody that's in top 1% walked up to your house and said, "Yeah, I'm about to fuck your auntie, your mother, and possibly your 28-year-old sister. She's 28. Never mind. You know, so some crazy shit. Just some fucking Chris Evans come up to your coming up on you and say, "Yeah, I'm taking your girl now." You lost. Just take your L, bro. just say, hey, GG's Chris Evans. Hey, you know, the better man want. Like, how the fuck can you compete with somebody like Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. or who's that one bald guy that played with The Rock in the Fast and Furious?
Vin Diesel?
No, the other bald guy.
I don't know the other
Hobbs
bald guy. You sure it's not Vin Diesel?
No. I ain't talking
Jason
about
Statham?
Yeah, that guy.
Jason
Yeah.
Statham.
Yeah. If he approached her, yeah, I'm taking your girl now. Like, shit. Like, what can you do?
Well, there's things you can do, but are they really worth it?
Shoot him in the kneecaps, yeah.
I wasn't thinking kneecaps, but okay.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay. No.
I mean, like that's how shit used to be dealt with. Dude came up and said, "I'm taking your girl." You either took the L or put him in a body bag.
I agree. I agree. But a lot of men, I'm sure, haven't been through that type of situation before. Thank God I haven't, because if I did, I'd probably be drinking myself to death all night.
Okay,
And
let's be honest.
some dude in a way different league than me come up and say, "Hey man, yo, I've been talking to your girl, man. Yo, yeah, we've been doing our thing, man, and my bad, bro." And you're like, there's nothing you can do if a dude that's in a whole nother league than you pretty much already took your girl. You can't force her to stay, right?
Okay,
Right?
see, like, there's a difference. There's a difference. Like, if the guy approaches out of fucking nowhere and just takes her, that's one thing. But if a dude who's out of your league comes and tells you that your girl's been going behind your back with him, I'd at least say, "Hey, thanks, bro. Like, I'd kind of rather find out this way than seeing like whatever you've been sharing on instant messenger with her."
Yes, but yeah, I agree. And that's the biggest reason why the saying "don't hate the player, hate the game" is fucking important for a lot of you men to realize. You need to realize that. Unfortunately, the game can be very cruel to a majority of men. Very
And
cruel.
that's the thing, like but this is the other kind of cruel bit of it. It's not necessarily that they're ditching you for something better. They might just do it for the emotional high of doing it. They might go and do it. They might pick someone so far below who you are just to humiliate you.
Yeah, Brandon, there's no fucking way I'm competing with Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, nah, that there ain't no fucking way. No, no. He can keep her. Hey, hey. It's all good. I'm sure me and Chris Hemsworth will share a drink after. Because ain't no fucking way I'm able to compete with that motherfucker. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. He is literally 90, I'll say 8% of the world's dream man.
Okay, like let's be honest, Yeet. I think that it's more like the 99.8%, if not tighter, because 98% would imply that there's like 80 million Chris Hemsworth on the planet. And honestly, I don't think there's 80 million Chris Hemsworths. Remember, there's 4 billion men. Every 1% is 40 million men.
I try to be generous, okay? Damn. Jesus, why you gotta break it down Barney style like that?
You threw numbers out, yes. It's instinctual to do the math.
But I got a super chat from a clever fish. Thank you very much. He says, if women are more sympathetic, empathetic, nurturing type, why do 60% of them support abortion as opposed to 40% of men? 2, they make up about half of domestic abusers.
Well, quite simple. It's because men would logically think, oh, well, if we're the more logical and rational type, then to balance it out, it would only be fair if women were the more caring, nurturing, and emotional, empathetic type. It's like, nah, because they can't just accept that, no, men, you're better at both. Women just suck more at both.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like, that's literally the logic I heard. Like, when I was rationalizing, like, men are better at monotaskers. That must mean women are better at multitasking. It's like, no. Everyone sucks at multitasking. Women suck at multitasking and monotasking. It's not that they're better to balance it out. Shit ain't fair that way.
Do you know how many times I've seen used in the military? No, they're horrible at multitasking.
No, it was like, sorry, this one really popular TED Talk, back when TED Talks were actually somewhat relevant. But it was like, but it was actually one describing the corpus callosum. It was like, oh, men are better at compartmentalizing. It's like, so therefore, I think my wife's better at multitasking. It's like, no, dude, you're better at both. Just inherently. Or at least you have the potential to be. Because, of course, there's the bell curve. Like, theoretically, there are some women, a tiny percentage of them, that are smarter than the average man. It exists. It's fucking rare, but it exists. But were you to line both bell curves of intelligence up side by side, women are behind men the entire way.
And speaking of the situation, thank you for bringing up birth control. Let's talk about Roe versus Wade.
All right. Now to the real meat of this.
Yeah, you already heard my hour-long rant, but I don't believe I'm done. But I do want to hear your perspective on the verdict.
All right. Well, do you want to hear it first or do you want to rant first?
Rant.
Rant away. You want me to start on my bit and then I'll trigger your rant?
You know what? Yeah. I have to get my blood boiling. Yeah.
All right. So first off, by and large, this isn't going to change much outside of the hardcore Republican conservative states. Like, this is going to increase division across the states because now there's no longer a blanket policy for abortion. Again, it's kind of like the minimum wage of abortion. It's just blanket applied across every state, regardless of individuals' desires. But now that each state gets to change their own policies, like New York is not going to institute a fucking abortion ban just because Roe v. Wade was struck down. California is not about to institute a ban on abortions. Fucking Oregon is not about to institute a ban on abortions. It's already places where it was undesirable. And if, like, I saw where everyone was fucking like protesting and rioting last night, it's like, nothing's going to change for you people. You can still go and fucking pop out the kid and strangle it to death in the next room and call it a late term abortion. That's not going to change because Roe v. Wade is done. You can absolutely chop up your kid to sell them to pharmaceutical companies, only you're not getting paid for it. The guy chopping your kid up is, but quite frankly, you're being underpaid for your service of delivering fresh fetus organs.
Hey, you're not wrong, but the biggest thing is, oh, and Trudeau can fucking kiss my ass. He can mind his own fucking business. He needs to worry about how he's doing a piss poor job of running his own goddamn country.
Oh, hey! He's thought ahead this year. He's introducing police checkpoints around Ottawa for Canada Day in anticipation of protesters.
What a fucking pussy! He is really trying his best to be undercover fucking dictator. He's really trying his best right now. But
if this is undercover, I'd hate to wait. I'd hate to see him overcover.
Pretty much saying, tell me you're a dictator without telling me you're a dictator. That's pretty much what Trudeau's doing.
Introduce police checkpoints to stop protesting. Meanwhile, have an I Love BLM shirt.
Yeah, meanwhile, talking about, oh, I'm so heartbroken that women are unable to kill their own children. See how sadistic, how evil, how primal, how Sodom and Gomorrah can it get that women and men, but mainly women, are screaming at the top of their lungs in agony and pain like a bunch of fucking Jezebels that got holy water thrown on them, that they cannot end their unborn baby's life out of inconvenience, right? It's too hard for them to focus on as much birth control as possible, right? Because isn't there like 30 different versions of birth control? No, they just want to raw dog it with Chad and stuff because he's hot, right? Fun fact, gentlemen, a woman is more likely to do it raw the hotter you are. Fun fact. So that's why you have all these abortion issues, and that's why she is unable to remove her accountability, right? Remove her sins in the sense of she's having sex out of wedlock, the baby daddy's nowhere to be found, and now she's stuck with the baby.
Oh God, but that's the other thing. Again, this kind of plays in my theory. I think women really want to be oppressed, so they are actually secretly really happy with this. I mean, they get to go out and scream for like what, 1 day, 2 day, like there's still the fucking Sunday for the weekend. All the ones that don't work, like they're gonna get to fucking scream and riot. It's gonna be a giant fucking party for them. Sure, it's anger, but it's also an emotion. I mean, do you really think a crack addict's going to turn down crack if it just makes them angry? It's like, we don't have any more happy crack, but we got a lot of angry crack. Are they going to go like, you know what? No, I think I'll go clean. I don't want angry crack. Or are they going to go like, give me the fucking angry crack?
That's the big thing. That is the biggest thing, right? I
don't think they care. I really don't think they care about the actual issue. It's more so just the emotional high they can get from the illusion that they're being oppressed, and now they get to run around and scream.
Yeah, but the fact that over 60 million babies were terminated over the course of since Roe versus Wade was implemented, that's terrifying. And do you honestly believe, chat? And I think I asked you guys this yesterday. Do you honestly believe that the Roe versus Wade thing was revoked? Was that a coincidence? Hell to the fucking no, right?
Oh God,
Very
no!
low
This is
marriage rates, very low birth rates. Our country right now, at the moment, we are in the slow but surely depopulation right now. Okay, and right now with the looming effect of a prolonged war, especially World War III, if nukes doesn't fly left and right, where are we going to have the manpower to replace within the next 20 to 30 years?
Yeet, I actually completely disagree that this is about depopulation. Completely.
No, what I'm saying is, I believe it's not a coincidence. I really don't. I know it's a political thing as well. Yeah, I know. I know that as well. That's a big factor. But I also do believe that right now, because of feminism, we are on the same track of Japan, South Korea, and other countries that just decide to not focus on the nuclear family and the population just slowly dying out. Right. Japan.
Oh, that's the thing. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think that Roe v. Wade is going to actually change anything, nor was it even meant to.
It's not. But at this point, it's the fact that, in my opinion, I think it's hilarious that even the own government is like, I think feminism went a little bit too far.
No, that's the thing. I don't think that the government did that in the slightest. Like, you have both Second Amendment being upheld and Roe v. Wade being struck down in the same week, and the midterms are coming soon. This is straight up getting the Democratic base fired up to try and retake the House in the midterms. This has nothing to do with changing population demographics, because if a woman wants to take out her kid, she's going to take out her kid. This is not going to keep couples together. This is not going to make larger families. This is not going to make more stable families. This is going to get like more clinics in New York up and running, and maybe it's going to get some of the left-wing loonies to move out of red states. That's about it for effect wise, but it's not going to say, okay, I can't say it won't save a single child, but I don't think it will save a statistically significant percentage of children.
No, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but at the end of the day, I believe it's a small thing, right? Not the main thing, but I really do believe it's a small thing. I said it was political before. I said it was political. I knew it was political.
Yeah, no, okay. Percentage wise, would you say it's like 30% or 10% of the reason?
10%.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna agree.
I know the main thing was political, of course, but at the same time, especially looking at the data, we ain't looking too high right now when it comes to the population, right? Unless we just keep letting the immigrants in, right? Open borders. We're not looking too hot within the next 100 years. I know they're not thinking that far, but
that's the thing. Honestly, but that's the thing. Like, do the people who are making these decisions at the top give a fuck?
No, that's it. They're not. I know they're not.
I mean, like, their family line is secure. What the fuck do they give about the slave population? I mean, making the slave population different than the rest of them just makes it easier to identify who the haves and have-nots should be.
Destabilization of a society.
It destabilizes the society, but the society of the native population. The people at the top don't need a stable society. They just need a stable force of arms. And so long as they hold the majority of power, they'll be able to maintain it. Now, I think that they're foolish and that they're overestimating their ability to hold on to power. But I can also understand them going, I think we're going to be okay. Like, we've got all the guns, we've got all the power, we got all the money. We can pay anyone in order to back us up. I think it's going to be fine. And I don't think it will be fine for them. I think they're vastly overestimating their own intelligence and vastly underestimating the intelligence of the population they look down on.
I agree. But at the end of the day, destabilization of society is correlated to how they stabilize the population. So, but that's long in the future. Let's see how it goes, right? Probably won't be alive before we see the true effects. So,
well, that's the thing. The true effects, this is going to have knock-on effects that, reverberate far past our lives. But it's not as though we aren't going to see any consequences in our lifetime.
No, like we said before.
Let's look at
Japan.
Like the greatest generation and the silent generation. Think about all the shit that they've seen just in their lifetimes, and shit wasn't accelerating near as much as it is now.
Right. I'm just saying the fact that women are choosing not to have kids, women are choosing not to get married. We're going down the same route as Japan.
Women are not choosing not to get married. Women can't get married. There's a difference.
Or choose not to because they believe in that feminist bullshit. But we're going down the same road as Japan, because Japan, they have a way higher elderly population than the working population, and it's only going to get worse. And I do believe, at least by 2060, 2050, 60, we're going to have a similar situation in the United States, right? Unless
actually, there's a really boss line.
Bullshit. At least we keep pumping in the immigration bullshit. We're going to follow the same route as Japan.
But actually, there's really
old ladies.
There's a really boss line that came out of China. I saw on a video a couple days ago. Like, these cops were threatening this Chinese guy who didn't want to work, saying, like, we will punish you and your family for 3 generations. And he said back to them, I am the last generation.
I think have I seen that? No, I don't think I've seen that yet. Damn, but that is badass.
Yeah, and I freaking, like, the Chinese have gone from lying flat to let it rot in terms of the lifestyle, Dave. So yeah, like, China's black pilled as fuck right now.
Right, I agree. But in the end, there will be a shit ton of elderly women in the future, and based on if they will let a shit ton of immigrants, like, open border all out, everybody come in, the working population won't be able to sustain the elderly population. I don't believe it, unless 2020 repeats itself. Hint, hint.
Well, let's be honest. 2020 doesn't need to repeat itself, given the side effects of a certain thing that YouTube doesn't like us talking about.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to be in the future.
Like, because that's already shown to cause issues with both reproduction and long-term survivability in the cardiac field. So might not have to worry that much about an elderly population down the line.
That is true. So the Roma Army has some complaints about Roe being overturned. I personally don't give a shit. She's it's been proved time and time again she's a chameleon, so I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, like, she's just fucking grifting for her new audience.
Yeah, like, I don't give a fuck what she says. Fuck her.
And again, like, so much of it, I'm positive, is just like they don't care. Like, you could probably go to every one of these women in New York and go, look, this doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter. New York is still going to give you everything. Nothing has or is going to change. why are you pretending to care about what some women in Alabama who don't even want abortions will have to deal with? It's because they want to go out and scream. That's it.
Yes, and here's the biggest issue I have I didn't address yesterday. Oh, the irony, the hypocrisy of modern women these days. You fucking hypocrites. Oh, so when it's about abortion, is my body, my choice. But when it comes to taking certain drinks, science drinks, into your system, my body, my choice doesn't apply anymore?
Oh yeah.
Fucking hypocrites.
Like, hey, like, no, the government absolutely. You know what? See, what if you propose this is like, look, now if you get an abortion, you are no longer able to apply for certain jobs. She's like, actually, you know, what if you were no longer allowed to apply for any child care or child-related jobs, period, if you had an abortion, because technically you were a child murderer, and that's a liability.
Bingo. Oh, now it's a gigantic issue. Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, now the government needs to stay out of our business. Our medical information should not be disclosed to the government. It's like, oh, really? So we shouldn't have a private app tracking every single woman who's had an abortion in the local area, you know, just in case I want to know whether or not someone's safe to let my children around.
Exactly. They don't want that. They don't want that. No, of course.
I mean, like we have a registry for people who violate children in non-murderous ways.
Yeah, I know, but they're not
actually
going
thinking about. Actually, that is kind of weird. Sorry, when you think about it, like you'd actually be punished less in the long term for just murdering a child than grooming a child.
I'm not surprised. That's just how the justice works these days. I'm not surprised. I'm just not whatsoever. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, another reason why I don't take these radical leftists, these radical feminists seriously. I just don't. I can't. Why would I? Why? It's been proven time and time again that they move the goalpost. Not once they stood on their own values, if they have any. Not once. They always move the goalposts. Always. Come on, man. And I'm sounding like Sleepy Joe. Fuck.
Come on, man. You know the thing with Corn Pop. And the swimming pools where the kids would touch the hairs on my leg.
The audacity of these bitches, bro. The audacity of these bitches. Saying that, if you don't take this temporary juice into your system, it ain't my fault if you lose your livelihood, okay? I don't care if it's your body, your autonomy, okay? That doesn't apply here, okay? So, but when it comes to abortion, you say it's a clump of cells. I'm a clump of cells, Gray's a clump of cells, Angler MGTOW's a clump of cells. So what the fuck you talk? You are literally just trying to sensitize the evil bullshit, this pagan sacrificial bullshit that you're doing of killing your own unborn children out of convenience. Convenience.
Honestly, I don't even think it's convenience. Convenience is one thing. Some of them, I swear, they probably just do it for the emotional high. Like the one that got like double-digit fucking abortions. At that point, you're fucking addicted to the pleasure. Like you're a serial killer for fucking babies at that point.
I agree.
Okay, one I can understand, but by the time you pass 3 abortions, you're a fucking serial killer for babies.
And they're making a whole outrage about it. Half those bitches, I don't see anybody trying to get them pregnant in the first place.
No, and that's the thing. I don't think they're doing it because they actually think it's going to be relevant to them. They're doing it because it gives them a reason to fucking scream and shout. And that's the power of getting people emotionally riled up right there. They don't care what they are getting emotional about. They're just going to get emotional and they're going to gravitate towards the negative emotions.
It's not just serial killers. They're just evil. That's all I have to say. Evil. Fuck that. I just keep it as that. Evil. 60 million children gone. And a good chunk of it was so they can brag about their 21st fucking abortion.
No. Let me actually make it a little bit worse. 60 million of your country's children murdered. These are your allies. These are your future workers. These are your future cops. These are the caregivers who are going to support you in old age. That's who you're killing. You're not even killing enemy babies. Like, I mean, you could kind of justify it in a wartime circumstance going full on genocide. Like, then you could at least find a somewhat morally gray area for it. But this is literally hampering your own productivity and long-term well-being, much like a scorpion stinging a frog when they're in the middle of a river.
Just imagine, gentlemen, and the only person that doesn't have to imagine is Island Hermit. Imagine a woman being able to end your bloodline just so she can brag about it on social media. I repeat, imagine a woman carrying your seed just without letting you know, go to the abortion clinic and kills your unborn child just so she can get some type of sympathy points on social media. That's how much your legacy is worth to her.
Yeah. And you see it a lot on Twitter too. It actually, another video today kind of put it very poignantly, but there is a large group of people that, if given the choice between praising someone for doing something good and going on a witch hunt for someone making a tiny mistake, they'll choose the witch hunt every time.
Shit. I'll say the same thing too, man. Like it's so it's something that I just cannot wrap my head around. It's so, and we've been so desensitized to this situation all this time, right? Because it's been happening since long before we've been born, or since a couple of people here have been kids. And then now we accumulate the entire number, 60 million.
That's the thing. Those are just the ones we know about.
Yeah,
those are just the ones that actually got recorded into it, because you know this shit was happening long before that with all kinds of methods. It's more like there's only it's like there's 60 million confirmed kills with who knows how many unconfirmed.
And they brag about how many. Say, yo, so proud. They beat their chests. They killed 18 unborn childs. 19.
And keep in mind, Alex, sorry, comment by Alex, she uses it instead of birth control because it was cheaper. It's not that it's okay. It's not that it's cheaper. It's there's more social approval points for getting an abortion than taking the morning after pill. And if there's no fetal cells to chop up and distribute in cosmetics, then all these research labs have less material to work with. There's a shit ton of money in dead babies. That's a sentence that probably shouldn't exist, but it's true. Jesus.
At the end of the day, I am glad that the Roe versus Wade thing has been revoked. And guess what? We're just being generous about it. You can still do your thing. You can still do it. But the fact that you can't use my federal tax money to go and carry out a hit on the unborn child, that just burns your very fucking existence, doesn't it, Model Women? Huh? I hope it does. Because whoever does this, whoever brags about the number of abortions they've had, and so proud about how many unborn children that they killed, you're evil. Anything else to say, Gray?
Apparently, Alex has found like the world record holder for abortions. Some woman in China with 37.
Oh, I'm not surprised, but you have anything else to say about this topic or the story?
Well, personally, I definitely would say that with these two decisions from the American Supreme Court, because again, Canadian, like all I get to do is hear Trudeau bitch about it. I'm grateful that some federal control has been loosened and more rights are being given back to the individual states, and the Constitution of the United States is being reinforced. So, like, my hat's off to like the Supreme Court justices who made these decisions. Regardless of the motivations, this is actually a step in the right direction for the U.S., even if I think it's too little too late. Credit where credit is due.
Yeah, we're finally getting somebody or people in Capitol Hill that has a fucking backbone. But at the same time, let's see how long that's going to last.
I think we'll see how the midterms turn out.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But this is Sir Yeetus. I got to head out right now because I got to get a few drinks. Okay. Because this is one video that I'm going to be creating today. I think Hammerhand, he brought up that video at the beginning of his stream this morning. It's about a compilation of very triggered, weak, frail men and Jezebel women pissed off about the Roe versus Wade overturn. So I'm gonna see if I can get Gray to do it later on, right? So we could do a collab. I think that would be pretty cool. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, it's a small victory. Small. Even though much more can be done, we can at least say this is a small one. Small victory. Would you agree, Gray?
Yeah, take your W's where you can get it because they're few and far between these days.
Bingo. All right, this is Sir Yeetus. Hopefully, you guys had your daily dose of rep pills, okay? Hopefully, you guys had a lot of gems dropped on you today. And we are out. Peace.
Peace out, Warband.